Hello everyone, how you doing, how you doing? If you are here, that means you watched my first part of this game, right? Right? Nah, I'm just kidding. But I do highly recommend watching the first part of the playthrough though. Link is in the description. Anyways, What do you mean? Why are you doing the intro very zoomed in on a ladder? You see, I got myself quite in a pickle here. You're probably wondering, how did you even get in this situation? Well, let's step back in time for a moment. After sending Abella to the afterlife, I went to sleep and entered the dream world. In this dream world, you can save your game and unlock skills or upgrade some stats. Upgrading a skill costs 1 soul orb, which you can make with 3 soul shards. And you get 1 soul shard for every head you offer to the BDSM god. That's why we are raw sawing people's heads off, remember? Anyway, you can only access the skills for your own character. Or, if you kill other contestants, you can get their skills as well, because you gain their soul when you defeat them in battle. Also, if you draw sigils, you gain affinity with the gods. Depending on what sigil you drew, of course, and it can unlock more skills or even more spells for you. The only important skills I got were Weapon Craft, allowing me to make weapons with the materials that I can find in the overworld. Spice Forge. This one is for giving buffs to your spells, like less cost, making it cast twice, or start the fight instantly using a spell. Greater Meditation, allowing me to get full ref points the turn after I use the guarding move. Then Karen's Persuade for interacting with enemies, Escape Plan for more chance to escape, and Diplomacy so that I can use Persuade for free in start of the battle without spending my turn. After saving the game and waking up, with the Weapon Craft skill, we finally craft one of the best weapons in this game. The Meat Grinder. This monster of a weapon attacks thrice in a turn and makes enemies bleed guaranteed when hit by this weapon, if the enemies can bleed of course. By the way, here's my build at this point in the game. I also forgot to explain what the ring does that I took from the dead dude at the shopping mall. It basically gives lifesteal on hit. After making the weapon, I went upstairs and decided to not take the itchy heroin addicted orphan man with me, and you will soon see why. I instantly tested this new puppy on the next enemy I came across, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Look at this, bro. Mwah, chef kiss. Ooh. Unlucky dumbass. Oh my god. Now everyone will fall before my wrath. No more Mr. Nice Guy, little goobers. I went back to where the dead mask spawned and went to the left to see if that dude that was charging at me was still back there. Until a glass bottle gets thrown close to me, being the signal for a mob to gank my ass. I was so stunned IRL because in this area there was a charging Metro dude, a Bell dude, a dead mask, and the mob as well. Oh my god, everyone is here, bro. Holy shit. The fuck is this, Smash Bros, bro? God, fuck. What do I even do now? I went up the ladder and decided to fight the dude up the ladder that wasn't a part of the mob. I easily butchered the guy and ran as fast as I could into the orphanage. In the orphanage, there are these mythical creatures called orphans here. Shocker, I know. But do not underestimate these little fuckers. I'll show you soon why. First, I went into a classroom and got the God of Fear and Hunger book. This book allows me to scribble a sigil on some circles on the floor that allow me to save without sleeping, which is huge by the way. After looting some classrooms, I found one of the orphans, or rather 3 of the orphans. You see, these guys hunt in packs, kinda like hyenas, which actually kinda saddens me actually. It saddens me so much that I decided to send these orphans to at least one foster parent. The foster parent being our Father in Heaven, that is. These evil hyenas have the ability to mark you when they hit you, and can make that mark explode when they hit you again, which makes your party members go to 1 HP For me, it isn't a problem because I can heal myself with the life-stealing. But if I took the itching heroin-addicted orphan man with me, he could cost me some resources or even die as well. Also, normally you would not even go in combat with these little dudes. Instead, you would shoot them with a pistol, making it an insta-kill with only one bullet shot. But Angry Man doesn't know how to use guns apparently. They don't have that in Japan, only swords and one-trap airplanes. I sent them to heaven and started to run around looking for more. Call me Epstein the way I'm hunting down these kids, I'd say. Wait, can I even say that? Is that allowed? I'm sorry, I take it back. I'm sorry. I got outside to the school's playground and used a purifying talisman. Oh my god. I got outside to the school's playground and used a purifying talisman to open a cursed door, allowing me to enter the janitor's room with a sigil that allows me to go to another dimension. But before I entered it, I decided to hunt down the orphan clan first, just like Maki hunted the Zenin clan in Jujutsu Kaisen. Then I opened the door with weird carvings on the floor and then met Father Hugo, which initiates a boss fight. Father Hugo wanted to embrace me, but then I used Karen's diplomacy with the persuade combo to make him hesitate in fighting me. And I just completely cooked him, bro. Like, he didn't even have the chance to get naked. Like, I completely molested the dude. It's insane. You know what they say? What goes around comes around, buddy. You reap what you sow. Or fee fi fo fum. My dick is now in your bum or something. I don't know. I never read Jack and the Beanstalk as a kid. I entered the dimension in the janitor's closet, which teleported me to like a war zone with these dudes that come out of the ground. They weren't a problem because I could easily one-shot them all.
Oh.
And then I finally collected one of the 3 statues that I needed for finishing this game. After that, I went into the basement of the orphanage to remove more orphans of the earth, and even found a priest that I easily killed. Not this time, buddy. After collecting all the heads and sacrificing them to the BDSM god, I went outside, but there was a problem. You see, the dead mask guy is still walking around, and he locked onto me the moment I stepped outside. But I had an idea. I took a bear trap, placed it. He is now immobilized for the rest of the game. But in the heat of the moment, I actually forgot about the mob. You see, the mob is a trio fight. If one of them touches you, you have to fight 3 of them. Yes, all 3 of them. Remember, there were only 2 chasing me. The 3rd one was camping the stairs, and I panicked so hard that I ran back to the ladder. And then I got myself sandwiched by the mob. Well, I'm so stupid. Well, now you know how I got myself here. By literally being stupid, basically. I had no choice but to go back up the ladder and initiate the fight. But soon after, I escaped and ran back to the local bar safe zone. I took the itchy heroin-addicted orphan man and drew the sigil of the god of fear and hunger so I could save my game. After that, I went back to face the mob, but the mob plucked our arms off with their meat grinder, just like how Yoshi plucked those flowers in that one Super Mario 64 minigame. And fun fact, you need both arms to be able to wield the meat grinder, so yeah, we got molested hard here. I was done with the mob. They can have the win. Unfortunately, the mob wasn't done with us and really wanted to go for round 2. Like, oh my god, these dudes must have eaten some honey packs or something, Jesus. They molested us again, but they didn't gank us for the 3rd time, which allowed us to enter the moldy apartments. Normally, in the moldy apartments, you would go up, take the diary, and read clues and try to make a code with the numbers of each room in the apartments. And there is nothing special that happens there. So for the sake of time, I just looked up the code and skipped the boring part. I entered the code on the bloody washing machine, which in response opens its door that apparently is a portal to the rarest dimension. For some reason this place is like super fucked up, like there are women getting sucked dry of their blood, and there are these freaky dudes crawling around. And don't get me started on the ambience music here. Imagine playing this game solo at 2 AM with this kind of music, bro. Oh, there are also these holes in the walls that actually got some good loot in it. Normally, you would skip these freaky dudes because they can do a lot of damage, but I decided to kill them all for their heads that I could use later on. After killing the freaky dudes and climbing a ladder down, I finally found the second statue, backtracked and then left the moldy apartments. Before I went back to the village, I decided to check the buildings of the right side of the map that I haven't been to yet. I found one of the best items in the game called the Salmon Snake Rune, which basically makes me immune to most status effects and also prevents my limbs getting cut off. After that, I didn't find anything special, only this asshole that killed one of my teammates in my previous run.
Please! Oh yeah, Tingle!
Speaking about teammates, I think it's time we get a replacement for Abella. Someone that's way better than her. Someone who's actually the GOAT of this game. I made my way to the woodsman's house, went into his basement, drew the rare sigil, and entered the rare dimension, where I found a cool edgy dude hanging around. He offered his alliance, and when going outside of the woodsman's house, our new teammate was patiently waiting for us. What? What do you mean? You were expecting someone else? Like, I literally told you that he was the GOAT. Caliph entered our party, and there isn't a lot you could do with him, and he kinda has a mind of his own. I mean, he's afraid of balls just like me. Does that mean I'm also the GOAT? Anyways, it was time to go back there, to where it all started. Back to the train. I drew a sigil of the god of fear and hunger in the train to save my game, because I ain't coming back here anyway, so... Then I decided to kill everyone that was left in the train, which was very easy because I could just gaslight them and make them hesitate for a turn.
But after all is said and done, you're gonna be the only one. Huh? Do you believe in love after love? I can feel something inside me say, I really don't think you're strong enough now.
After killing everyone on the train and absorbing their souls, I decided to save my game by sleeping and unlock some more skills with the new souls that I got. The only important one that I got was the +1 agility in the God of Fear and Hunger skill tree, Bob and Weave giving me increased evasion when activated, Poison Tip allowing me to make my weapon do poison damage before entering a fight, Perfect Guard, increasing guard defense, and being immune to limbs being cut off, Adrenaline Rush, a passive that increases my attack per turn to a max of 3 turns. Engrave, allowing me to carve sigils on my face that give me increased stats depending on what sigil of what god. Greater Occultism, allowing me to start the fight with 2 ref points. Undergrowth, that makes me be able to harvest poisonous plants. Advanced Botanism, gives me more recipes that I can make with the plants. Phew. That's all the important stuff. I save my game, tested Engrave skill with the God of Fear and Hunger sigil, which gives me +5 agility, and then call it quits for the day. Then like a week later I got back onto the game and went straight to the sewers, heading for the last Logiscope. After killing another homeless man, I entered the sewage treatment plant of the city, where you have to do a silly little puzzle that involves flipping switches and pushing boxes. I cleared the puzzle and went down a ladder towards an underground cave. There's a lot of healing items in this place, and there's also this weird little red guy who's like an introvert or something. I don't know. I decided to follow him, but then quickly realized it was a trap. The entire rat gang surrounded me, leaving me no choice but to fight my way out of this. In the fight you have to face off against 6 rat dudes. But something was off. You see, after my turn and the order of attacks resolves, for some reason the rat gang gets an extra turn, enabling them to attack twice in a row. That's 12 attacks I have to endure.
Oh shit! What?
Yeah, this quickly became from me being badass to me getting gang molested here. Like, god damn, I might as well post this one on the hub if you know what I mean. After getting molested and spawning back on the train, I quickly realized what my mistake was. Remember those sigils that I carved on my face? Yeah, I didn't have those anymore. You know why? Because I applied them after saving the game. So this entire time, I thought I had more than 20 agility, but actually I had like 15 or something, or 16. For those that don't know, if you have 16 or against some enemies 21 agility, you, the player, gets an extra turn to attack or to use healing or etc. But the rats had more agility than me, allowing them to have the extra turn to attack. So I had to do the puzzle again, go back into the cave again, where this time I had the sigils carved on my face, and it was my turn to pack the rat gang. By the way, did you know that if you defeat the Rat Gang, they give you a guaranteed Small Things amulet, which basically gives you like extra agility? I continued my way through the caves and got to another boss fight. I would love to put music here and let the fight play out, but it was so one-sided. Did you know that a gas canister that explodes actually deals magic damage? Normally you would not be able to hit Moonless when she's in the dark lurking. Only with magic, but Caliph attacked the gas canister right through and it did damage anyway, making her already get DOT damage before the fight has even really started. And after attacking her once, she suffers from the fire DOT, poison DOT because of the poison tip skill I applied to my weapon, and bleed DOT because my weapon guaranteed bleed on hit too, all at the same time. Before she perished, August jumped in to calm her down and gave her some heals for her troubles. Man, I gotta be honest, he should give those heals to Moonless instead of us because she got absolutely destroyed by us. After that event, I went down the elevator using the rope and got to Tanaka. Apparently Tanaka survived, but I had a weird feeling about him, I don't know. Something is off, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Anyways, I asked him to join our party. He refused and I attacked him for that. Turns out he was a mimic and he wanted to swallow me whole, goddamn. Anyways, I beat his ass and gave the fake Tanaka the real Tanaka experience. Then I started the Logiscope, went up instead of down this time, and got to the Foundations of Decay, where there is a lift that allows you to go to the Church of Almer. We were kinda in the freaky side of the church with jail cells and some half-naked pillar man.
Come over here and kiss me on my hot mouth.
But there's also these snails dudes that when fought will try to confuse a party member and basically makes your party member become like Caliph, like just have a mind of his own. But instead of just attacking the enemies, your party member can also attack your party members. So for just to be safe, I changed my meat grinder to the black steel katana because I really didn't want to find out if I can like one-shot my own party members. After beating a dozen of those cult snail people, I entered the sigil towards the rare dimension, where I met a girl that wanted to do like a very fucked up surprise party or something for another girl. She got pissed off because I ruined her surprise party by simply just existing. Then she snapped and transformed into Dysmorphia. Dysmorphia was defeated and I took her head and her soul. I went back to the church, got a key, and went to another rare dimension that I drew this time, where a girl covered up in chains was locked up. I freed her and took the heart-shaped lock she left behind. I used the heart-shaped lock at the summoning altar and then a beautiful lady was summoned that wasn't really beautiful on the inside, because she had no heart. She asked me for a 1v1 to which I accepted. Let's see, what's more dangerous? A goddess with no heart, or a man that has been through it all, filled with anger and determination?
Get ready for the next battle.
I know who I am. That moonlight lake told me this is who you are. My vision so long, my nails are simple the night.
What?
Is me. That is bullshit blazing. Still my heart is blazing. If the word kill me, I don't need you. What under you? Soon you will know. We already know the spell of the game. Do you know who you are when you speak your words? Don't sound like your own. You're trapped in the darkness created by this world. That is who you are. Don't stand up for a second like my feet and sometimes without moving it sounds from the ground. That is bullshit blazing. Still my heart is blazing. If I lose my wings, I don't need a new world under you. Can't feel a thing. We already know the spell.
This fight was the craziest one I ever had in this game, bro. Oh my god. I also got her weapon, which is basically top tier next to the meat grinder. But I gave the meat grinder to the itchy heroin addicted orphan man and took the virtue for myself. Anyways, I collected the last statue and placed all 3 of them at the church altar, revealing a secret path towards an exit with some minor difficult enemies. Also, I'm using this one spell called Rot. It basically lowers the torso HP, which can be useful sometimes on some enemies. Then I entered the altar of the one god, where I met Rancid, the Surgul. He decided to fuck around and fight me, thinking he was better than Angry Man. Unfortunately, he found out that he was no match for me, because I cut off his arm, which made him run with his tail between his legs. After that, I went outside, met a dickhead. I mean, he wasn't a bad guy, he just had a weird shaped head. That's, you know, like, never mind. Finally, I found a place with a hex table, allowing me to unlock the last few skills that I thought that could be useful, and also collected the last free air of the run. The only important skill I unlocked here was the extra 25 mind of the rare skill tree, because I drew a lot of his sigils and gained a decent amount of affinity with rare, making me able to unlock his skills. Before I saved my game, I quickly ran to the museum, where a useful merchant resides, Pocket Cat. After beheading important victims, I sold their heads to Pocket Cat for 2 extra books of enlightenment, giving me the ability to save on spot. No voice crack this time. Then I did the clock puzzle, but instead of trying to talk with people around for clues, I basically brute forced it. What can I say? I'm an introvert type of guy, you know. I returned to the hex table, where a ritual circle resides, and used the God of Fear and Hunger sigil to save my game. We now entered the final part of the game, but before that, I had some unfinished business with some bastards in the city. Those bastards being the mob and the dead mask. I went back to the orphanage where the dead mask was still stuck in a bear trap. I easily molested him, and it was time to face the real deal. Well, it seems that the mob had the last laugh. I sent them to the afterlife, but sadly, they took our goat with them. Rest in peace, you son of a bitch. Yeah, I wasn't sad about it, but I was pissed about it, and someone had to pay. So it was time for me to enter the bunkers. I saved at the top of the bunkers before going down using a Book of Enlightenment. I went down and finally entered the bunker's entrance. The doors behind me closed, letting me know that there was no going back. The bunkers was kinda like a maze for me because I never went to this area in this game, so I was kinda like lost the entire time, and there were a lot of these soldiers walking around. I mean, they weren't actually a problem, except for the flamethrower soldiers. While I was strolling looking for the exit, one of them started to burn me alive without asking any questions or whatsoever. So they made me do that entire bunker part fucking again. But finally, after walking and walking, I finally reached one of the last bosses of the game. A freaky girl in a freaky suit. She walked away and then ambushed me with a tank-like creature, trying to stall me from my ultimate goal. Get out of my way, woman. I'm too pissed off to be freaky. You think I'm scared of your 216 inches size boyfriend? Well, allow me to demonstrate why size doesn't matter.
From by my dance again. Lay me down while I have you dead. Now you hear the rumble from the ground. Yeah. Trick, cheat, frog like drownings dancing round. Yeah. Don't let it be over.
And that's how you do it, boys. I did my final beheading and saved my game for the last time before heading to the next room, where I go schizophrenic for a bit and then met Kaiser, who wouldn't let me pass because he was protecting the machine god. He wanted to throw hands, and so be it. Let our epic fight commence. We defeated Kaiser, but our battle wasn't over yet. We knew this was gonna be our last fight. I gave the itchy scurvy. You know what? This motherfucker has been here from beginning to the end. I gave Levi his last heroin needle before taking on the machine god. This is it. Our last fight. Our answer that we seek.
You wanna see some of this? Annihilating rhythm.
Warmth surrounded my body. All my worries were lifted from my shoulders. I floated so peacefully. It felt so good. Why? Why does this feel good? Oh, because I don't feel angry anymore. I felt hope, empathy, and especially happiness because you watched till the end of the video. Thank you for sticking around and enjoying the work I create. This is my first time creating scripted videos, and this certainly won't be the last. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Thinking of you, call up my mama. 어둠이 수수께때요. 여루가 고개를 맞대. Thinking of you, 가사 났다 mama. 유락이 수수께때.